When did you hear your first ghost story? What was it like to sit around the campfire as a kid, listening to someone spin yarn they swore was real? That supposedly happened to someone they knew, a cousin they grew up with, the sister of a pal they knew in school. How does a ghost story get its power? From the imagination of the listener? How does it evolve? Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Los Angeles Bushwick Book Club. Today, we're going to explore one ghost story that has been steeped in infamy ever since it started making its rounds around the campfire across this country. I'm speaking, of course, of Jessica Ford, also known as the Little Witch of Pilots Creek. We now take you to a basement in Montana to meet our host of the show and the author of this month's story, Clay Macleod Chapman.
Hello! Welcome to the Bushwick Book Club, October. It is Halloween, and we are going with a kind of creepy scene, creepy book. And we have the author here with us again. I am Stacy Rock. I am your host of the Bushwick Book Club. I'm also pushing all the buttons like the madman in Oz behind the curtain. So there's always a few hiccups, and we hope that you will enjoy those as much as I do. So we are going to bring on the author himself, Clay Macleod Chapman, and discuss his book a little tiny bit, and then we're going to bring songwriters on who have read the book and wrote songs about it. They were inspired by creativity. It's awesome and amazing, and I'm so glad you're here to watch it with us. So, Clay, if you could pop on.
Hey, am I coming in?
I think you're in now. Let me just check. I have my own little thing here where I can look to make sure. There you are. We're both on.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. This is amazing. I have to say, like, no one will enjoy tonight more than me, frankly. So I think it's you all have, I feel very honored and very privileged that I get to hear songs riffing off of the Remaking. So I'm just a hog in heaven right now.
You know, I have wanted to have you on this for a really long time because I didn't know when I met you in New York. I saw you perform a monologue, and I loved it. And it was also creepy, if I remember right. But I then learned that you wrote novels, you've written screenplays, you've had them produced into shorts and full lengths, you've written comics. I mean, you've just done so much. So I'm so excited to have you because I've wanted to bring you on for a long time. So here we are.
Thank you. I think this is the perfect book for it. So it's the perfect time of year. This is, I think it's a win-win all around. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So first question is, this is based on a true story about a mother and daughter in Kentucky in 1913 that were hung as witches. Burned.
Yeah.
And they were buried in separate places. And there still is the grave of the little girl surrounded by like a metal picket fence in Kentucky. So what made you pick this story?
There's a longer answer, and I'll try to keep it as compressed as humanly possible. But the original idea first came about after watching this film called Ringu. And I guess more appropriately, it's American remake, The Ring, starring Naomi Watts. And having seen the original film and being very affected by the original film, and then seeing its American remake, I just had it was that kind of stoner epiphany where I said to myself, man, if this was a real story, if this was based on a true story, how ticked off would Sadako, the ghost girl from the original movie, be about this Americanized, bastardized version of her urban legend? And honestly, that's what kind of started me thinking about this idea of a ghost kind of being a curse being transmitted by way of the story itself, and all these various permutations of campfire stories, podcasts, films, remakings. But when I started to kind of think about it in earnest and kind of mapping it out, I didn't feel like it would be appropriate for me to author a story that kind of crossed cultures, particularly a culture that wasn't my own. So the J horror aspect, I said, well, let's not do this. Let's look at kind of an urban legend from America and something kind of steeped in my own kind of particular culture, which is the South. I'm from Virginia. That I grew up with this idea of the oral tradition is just, it's been kind of in my DNA from the get-go. And yeah, it led me to The Little Witch Girl of Pilot's Knob. And you can go right now down to Pilot's Knob, Kentucky, and see this grave of this supposed witch girl. Her mother is buried in some unmarked grave in the woods, apparently. Like, nobody knows where she's buried. But as the story goes, if you were at this little witch girl's grave at midnight, you could see her ghost wandering about, and she asks you to help her, and you take her hand. And if you do, apparently she like grabs you and takes you, into the grave with her. And that to me is, it's terrifying, because I believe, I'm a firm believer in ghosts, but also just the kind of the power of that story, but also the fact that it's for what we know historically speaking, these are two women who were believed to be witches. Their community kind of rallied around this kind of basic premise, this fear, this prejudice, and they acted upon it. And that to me speaks kind of volumes that, like, to this day, the urban legend of this little child persists, when the kind of the historical, the kind of the factual is what gets kind of embedded and buried and subdued.
I looked up pictures, and I used it in the montage in the beginning. It's like her grave is there, and it still has the crucifixes around it, or the fence made out of crosses. And it is kind of crazy this day and age to think there's an 8-year-old girl buried there that still holds this mystique of being something, that it's just there. It's part of the past.
It strikes me that just the kind of the power of our own fear and the power of our own prejudices can kind of persist, decades after the fact, almost a century after the fact. And
there's ghost hunters all online that have gone there, and they've written their blogs about it. I read some of those. Yeah, well, it kind of what you said earlier about the retelling of a story and how the character would actually feel about it leads me into my next question. So this one, it starts with like the oral telling of the story, and then it goes into the first making of the film, the second making of the film, and then the podcast. So you kind of tell it in these 4 different stories.
Yeah.
They're also all told from a male perspective. And you also weave Hollywood into that, and Hollywood's sort of treatment of women in horror films, I guess. That's what I personally took from it. So I'm just curious if that was something you did intentionally, or how that plays out.
There are a lot of different answers to that. And one of them is that I am a fan of the genre. I love horror. First and foremost, I've been a fan all my life. And I look to the genre, particularly with film, and kind of intensely aware of the kind of the men behind the camera, and that it's not 100%, but it is a kind of constant when we think of our Hitchcocks, our Gentos, our Polanskis. Like that male gaze has always been a part of these stories. So for me, it became kind of a question of like, thinking about the urban legend, the actual kind of story of these 2 women. What right did I personally have to tell their story? And I felt complicit in kind of exploiting this historical event, and I didn't want to let myself off of the hook. And I wanted to kind of embed there's no answer to it, but there is at least a kind of a mirror put up to the mirror, and just the kind of refracting of that question of like, who has the right to tell these tales? And do men have the right to tell this story? Do I have the right to tell this story? I did, but much like many of the men in the novel who end up telling the story of these women, they don't necessarily fare, their fates end up being pretty bleak. So the jury is still out as far as I'm concerned, what's going to happen to me. But I wanted to be complicit within that as well. And, I think you have to be,
Well, I really enjoyed reading the book, and I enjoyed writing my song. So it's called The Remaking. Yeah. And we're going to play some songs, and then we're going to bring you back, and you're going to read something. So
amazing.
I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to bring Rupert Angel Eyes. Thank you so much, Clay.
I'll see you soon.
Bye. All right. Let me spotlight Rupert Angel Eyes. I just gotta look. I'm over here. You guys can't see me, but I'm over here like controlling the world. All right, spotlight.
This that I wrote is about my mommy. How I miss my mommy. How I love mommy. Sometimes mommy forces me to do things I don't like to do. Sometimes it is 12:04 a.m. and I'm awake, and I just want to see mommy again. I'm a monster for you, working all night. I'm afraid of my mother's abuse, but she's not in sight. Who is shining these lights in my face? I forgot my lines. I wish I could run away and slip into the night. A voice calls my name, but who's calling me? There's a haunted hand reaching for me, and I want to touch it. I see fingers that are calling out my name, but who's calling me? In the woods, the branches rip the skin. It feels both right and wrong. I watch myself die. Everybody knows nothing is okay. I see
love it. You had
I nailed it. I can't believe I'm so talented.
I can't either. Do you put you at the front or you go at the end? It's like, but I mean, you made a horror movie song about just the actress, like the part of being an actress.
It's fun horror stuff. It's very fun to make it.
Like a mommy dearest kind of thing. I loved it. And also you turn the mask into like a horror prop, which is fantastic for the times.
It's kind of hard to be scary.
Thank you so much. That was Rupert Angel Eyes. Next, we have Gunnar Larsson. And wait, I have to do this to ask him to start his video. Now I can spotlight him.
Hello.
Hello, you're on.
I'm on, okay. All right, sweet and short. This is the Ballad of Jessica Ford. This is the story of Jessica Ford. I'm going to tell in the name of the Lord what happened out here in our sleepy old town. How Jessica Ford got in the ground. Jessica Ford was a beautiful girl. Her eyes were like diamonds, her skin was like pearls. She never did nothing to cause you no harm. Still she was bound to the ground. She lived outside all alone in the woods. Just with her mom, they were up to no good. Many a man had his destiny sealed when they went out across the field. Along came the day when it broke off the bough. You heard them wither and screaming out loud. Deep in the night when the flames brought their fate, Jessica jumped, but it was too late. They got her deep in the ground by the yard. Still they kept her and her mother apart. Don't wander out there all alone in the dark. Jessica'll get you if you play that part. This is now many a year in the past. Still here on out this old curse it will last. Just you go out there and see for yourself. But you might be found in the ground. We carry this burden a century now. Still we can't help her, we just don't know how. So we all gather and pray to the Lord. Father, have mercy on Jessica Ford. So we all gather and pray to the Lord. Father, have mercy on Jessica Ford.
Ballad.
Yeah.
A ballad. It's so perfect. Her name is so perfect for this kind of
Right.
Jessica Ford. It is. It's perfect. That was awesome. Thank you. Up next is Nicole. I'm going to say her name right. Tourtelot. I love saying it. Nicole Tourtelot. She is next, and I am going to find her on my giant list of people. I'm just going to take you guys with me every time I have to do something on this thing. All right, here we go. You're on.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Nicole, and I thought that Jessica got a lot of attention in this wonderful book, so I decided to write a song about her mom. So this is called Ella Louise. Born with the mark of the devil on her, raised in a house with the curtains drawn, played in the woods among the shadows, howled at the moon till the early dawn. Ella, Ella Louise, Ella, Ella Louise. How you gonna get out this time? How you gonna get out this time? Moved to the dark canopy that kept her, built her a house out of mud and stones, hid from the town till hunger hit her, begged for their scraps and chicken bones. Ella, Ella Louise, Ella, Ella Louise. How you gonna get out this time? How you gonna get out this time? Now through the woods comes a figure to her, pale as the fog lifting in the trees. Don't tell a soul that I came to see you. Won't you help me, please? Ella, Ella Louise, Ella, Ella Louise. How you gonna get out this time? How you gonna get out this time? She sews by the fire, the baby's sleeping, crack goes the wood and the smoke does rise. Scoops up the babe and bursts out the cabin, surrounded by men with rage in their eyes. Run, little one, she screams to her daughter, the men close in all around. She begs for life, but the men are faster, snap up her limbs and pull her down. Ella, Ella Louise, Ella, Ella Louise. How you gonna get out this time? How you gonna get out this time? Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful song.
It was haunting, melancholy. I like wanted to hear a trio of women. Oh, there we go. Trio of women. Let me. Yeah, that was. I could hear harmonies. It's awesome. All right. So next we have Richard Alwyn. He is new to the LA Bushwick Book Club. I don't know if he's ever done it in New York, but you are on.
Ooh, the spooky band. There's the spooky band. We're going to put the band over here. Hi, I have played the Bushwick Book Club a couple times. And thank you for having me here. I'm going to take my headphones off so that I can't hear you groan when I go off key. I'm Richard Alwyn. The song is called No Retake, No Acting, No Action. It's very impressionistic. It's about the book and horror movies in general. It takes the only shot, but it leaves her conscience dry and she feels worn out. And as the camera pans, she says she always used to talk a lot, but then they're only sourcing you. Always only looking for to catch you out, thinking they can hem you in with a little bit of, oh, didn't you once say yeah? Subtext loses Amber 'cause she's really just a little kid, and worrying that loose tooth is the only feeling that's worth feeling. After years and years and sticks and stones, it's the only focus that she can own. In the center are the sinners, at the edges are the answers if you can't hold on. You go flying off and I don't know if I can bring you back. You keep saying that it's cold outside, looking for your burned out eyes. He's only trying to keep the shoot on time. I'm out walking in the fall. You gotta see it, I don't know now. We could rent it, you don't know how. Where's it showing? I think it's going down. You can try to cauterize, but it's really what you're feeling all along. You and I are arm in arm, walking in your burned out smile. You can say it was only so-so, and you've seen it all before. And that ghost was lame, left you wanting more. But just like any horror film, the promise of sex always draws you in, but you end up frustrated, 'cause nothing ever comes to anything. And when you're walking home alone, feeling like a loaded gun, everything's a clicking hammer, whether you're a nail or a screw. When she spit out that tooth in the final scene, well, even Marlon Brando blushed when he talked about what he had seen. I saw him in an interview, maybe on the Carson show. That girl's not acting, no. She was possessed. Boo! No!
The tooth, like it's such a, it's just really interesting the things people pick up on for their song. It's you get like 12 songwriters, they read this same book and then they all find like this unique perspective, and it's all instigated by Clay's book. So it's such a cool, thank you, that was
That
great.
line, worrying that loose tooth was the only feeling worth feeling. Just
Yeah, like in such a
almost wrote the whole
adolescent.
song the second I read that line, which was early in the book.
Do you know, it's funny because sometimes people, like when I listen to the songwriters, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? You know, like that's such a great image. I wish I would have done that. All right, so next we are going to bring Clay Macleod Chapman back on to read from his book, The Remaking. And I am going to, where am I? Hold on, I always think you got it. There I am. Here you are. You are on.
This is amazing, guys. Are there recordings of these? Like, I don't want to impose, but I feel like this is an album or something. I want copies. So I want to beg. But I'm going to read a quick section from the very, very beginning of the book. This comes from part 1. It's just the beginning. Here we go. These woods whisper. The pines at your back. You can practically feel the needles bristling in the wind. Lean in and listen closely, and you can hear their stories. Everything that's ever happened underneath that vast canopy of conifers, every last romantic tryst, the suicides, the lynchings, you name it. These trees will testify to them. These woods have witnessed them all. Whenever somebody from town wants to do something in secret, they come out here where they think they'll be alone, where nobody's watching. You know, they'll hide in these shadows, performing their little rituals beneath these branches, where they believe, as if they believe these trees will keep their secrets for them. They think nobody's listening in, but that's not true. I mean, that's not true at all. The trees are listening, always listening. The woods know what the people of Pilot's Creek have done, what we've all done. So, I've lived in this godforsaken city my whole goddamn life. I know just about everything there is to know about the people out here. Every last dark secret. You want to know how? I listen. I listen to what the trees have to say. I listen to these woods. So what story do you want to hear? You want to know what drove Hallie Tompkins to hang herself back in 46? Or which men it was who strung Russell Parr up? Or how about that baby they found half buried back in 38? No, you're not here for any of those stories, are you? You want to hear about Jessica, don't you? Of course you do. Tonight of all nights, 20 years ago on this very evening, October 16th, 1931. We don't have much time. And here it is, almost midnight, and I haven't even begun to tell the tale of the little witch girl of Pilot's Creek. Poor Jessica. You brought me a bottle? No, don't be stingy on me now. That is my price of admission. You want to hear a story? You goddamn well better have brought me an offering. Alms for the minstrel, something to wet my whistle so that I'll sing. Because Jessica's story takes time, takes the life right out of me. Her story takes a toll on the teller. You hear that price is too high. Unless you got a little something for me to drink, huh? My throat's so parched, I don't think I can tell it without a little drop of that lightning bolt. I'll sound like a bullfrog before I'm finished. Did you bring me a little something? Just to take the edge off, you know, warm my insides. It just gets so cold out here at night. Oh, thank you. Thank you kindly. That is much better. You feel that fire working its way down my throat, settle into my belly like a bonfire. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Let's start with Jessica's mother. Thank you.
Yes. That is.
Thank you.
That was great. So I don't want to give away any of the story really, but I mean, we're kind of the whole thing kind of gives away some of it. But is that the same guy the podcaster meets? I knew it. Okay, he shook his head.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe I wasn't supposed to tell you off screen, but I thought so because it occurred to me later. I was like, that somebody really likes to drink in this book, and it's
Like the old talker in the diner, right?
Yes, at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, we're good readers.
Time never dies.
Yeah. He's really old. I mean, the description is very old at the end. Okay, so he's kind of the through line. Gosh, I'm just a literary genius. So next we have Justine Kragen, and you are on.
Hi. I read this book on Friday from start to finish, and I really enjoyed it. And I wanted to write about sort of the supernatural connection between the spirits and the people they possess, Jessica, and there's her mother's in there somewhere too. It's kind of hard to say, but here we go. You can't forget about me, 'cause I'm coming back to haunt you. I need your eyes to see the reason that I alarm you. I was summoned by your stare. I can reach you anywhere.
song that Stevie Nicks does. It reminds me of that one. Like I know that it's based on this book, but it could definitely be that sort of like, you can't get rid of me.
Yeah, like, yeah, I wanted to write it as the book, but also like potentially like possessive love, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you did
I
it.
like them to be like multi-dimensional like that.
Yeah, it was great. I'm trying not to say the word awesome 1,000 times. I don't know.
Awesome.
It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely, the sound of it. It reminds. What is that song? I mean, it doesn't sound like that song, but it reminds me of this song by Fleetwood Mac, and I can't think of it. You Can Never something, a woman who loves you. Like, and it's just like, I heard that song one time, and I never noticed before. I was like, this is that girl's
Silver Springs.
Yes, I was like, that girl is not going away. All right, so up next we have Dave Derby. You are
Hey there. So my song is inspired by, I guess, I don't know how to pronounce their names, the Terraino brothers or Terreno brothers, who were the producers who wanted to rewrite the show, and they wanted to make Jessica like a young woman, because hippies were a big deal, and they thought they could sex cells and they could have a, you know, different kind of Jessica. So this is kind of inspired by what might have happened if the film took a different tack, and if Ketchum hadn't fought for what he believed in. It's called Ghost Hippie. Ghost hippie, the Jessica we might have seen, a different scream queen who haunted our dream, with a shade of blue movies. I think you know what I mean. Ghost hippie, how does that weightlessness sound? And how do you turn this around? Or do you let it go just like you did? And now you're closer, the casting won't set. And will you own up to the terrors that you can't forget? Ghost hippie, how do you play it from here? Running lines when the motive's unclear. Do you think it might just disappear, like that fateful night of yesteryear? Ghost hippie, I think a long way to come. Out there you still don't know. Ghost hippie, that's it.
That can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If anybody can shake their head. There we go. Yes. The producers, you took it from the point. I mean, that is pretty great, because I guess they're a major role in terms of like how he's making his movie during the remake. But I would have never occurred to me. Again, it's fascinating how we all just find something different to be inspired by. All right, so it's my turn to sing. So I'm gonna put myself in a bucket. I think I'm in the bucket. Everybody can hear a keyboard and a bucket. So I wrote mine. Well, it was kind of on that concept of stories being told by other people, not the original having your story be told, and the story of the two witches, the young girl and her mom. It was just interesting to me that they couldn't tell their own story, and they were sort of, now they're these legends that live in this certain perspective that people, the reality of who they are is kind of lost. All right.
You can't bury me deep 'neath an inch of concrete, but I won't stay down. You can write my story, be the author, the thief, but you don't tell the truth. How about you start off your book with the 3 men who took an 8-year-old girl to her grave? Maybe light up that page with the masculine rage that burned them all down. Don't leave me in your story. Why do you think you can walk in my shoes and then own me? The writer's room, the scales are tipped, another story's being gypped. Just give me the pen, I'll write myself in. Don't leave me in your story. I'm your entertainment, however you frame it. I'm a plaything. When you sleep on my grave, maybe whisper my name. Now who's depraved? Why do you think you can walk in my shoes and then own me? The writer's room, the scales are tipped, another story's being gypped. Just give me the pen, I'll write myself in. Don't leave me in your Don't leave me in your story.
I realized
Beautiful.
upon singing that it sounds like I'm talking about Clay himself, but I was talking about
Yeah.
filmmakers. So just clear that up.
Beautiful melodies. And,
All right.
it's beautiful.
Jessie, you
Yes.
are on.
Excellent. And that was so beautiful, Stacy.
I mean,
welcome to my Airbnb in Vermont in the woods. I'm going method with this. Like the protagonist in the book, I was also in a witchy movie when I was younger. I was in The Crucible, which was even referenced in the book. So I decided to kind of write about that. And I also borrowed a little bit from a well-known song by Hall & Oates. Maybe you'll recognize some of the lyrics. And my guitar playing is still a work in progress, so I appreciate your patience. Here goes nothing. If you go out in the woods at night, be mindful as you tread. The trees are always listening with the ears of those long dead. She had gone where the lights couldn't touch her, escaped her mother's grasp, to be embraced by the arms of a sudden corpse with a bony limbs and a rasp. I was a witch girl too. I was in the crucible. I danced in the woods. I conjured a sweetheart. Met Arthur Miller, toured in the black arts. I was a witch girl too. She was born under an unholy star, always burning, may she always burn. She's a witch girl, and she's gone too far, always burning, may she always burn. There's a freedom in letting yourself go, living on the outside, you don't have to follow the rules. The birds and the creatures of the forest are far less judgmental than all those towny fools. She's a witch girl, and she's gone too far, always burning, may she always burn. She was born under an unholy star, always burning, may she always burn. I was a witch girl too. I was in the crucible. I danced in the woods. I conjured a sweetheart. Met Arthur Miller. Toyed in the dark arts. I was a witch girl too. Yes, I was a witch girl too. Yes, I was a witch girl too, and my name is Jessica, technically, but no one ever calls me that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I perfect. You're a witch girl. And you know, yeah, I heard that. Okay, thank you so much. That was great. Okay, so now we have Gary Burton. Let me find you.
Thank you, Jessica. That was wonderful. I never get to call you that. Hi, everybody. Hi, Clay. Thank you for a very inspirational book. I kind of went off at a little bit of a tangent. I had a great spooky time because I was finishing up reading the book on a small trip to Portland, Maine, and then driving up to Bar Harbor. So I went through a lot of small town America and saw a lot of those small town graveyards. So I kind of got out and had a look around and soaked up all that spooky atmosphere. And I saw a couple of kind of military type graves, I suppose, which just triggered something off. And I thought about the idea of doing a kind of protest song, an anti-war song, but from the beyond. So that's what I did. And it's called A Soldier's Grave. And I'm playing in a video, so I'm going to share my screen and hopefully I'll be able to play it for you. Here we go. Rows and rows of headstones and
one that bears my name, but none of them dare whisper the age of my remains. Cannon fire will carry the orphans of my soul. The battle cries still bind me to life when I was whole. And from the trees the temporary leaves will blow away, but the wind will beg eternal night to stay. A vicious vow to twist the bough and bear the bitter fruits, my bloodless veins entangled with the roots. I laid my weapons down, but not to sleep. My pain lies underground in fever dreams. I'll never rest in peace. Catacombs and roses tell heroes of the past. The moon and all her sisters will light these cenotaphs. Lonely brides will marry in widows' gowns again. My comrades keep on fighting, their uniforms are stained. And in the fields where frightened teens were kneeling down to pray, the final strains of glory days will play. A vicious song that's played too long to drown the bitter truth, the blood and mud still clinging to their boots. I laid my weapons down, but not to sleep. My pain lies underground from things I've seen. I'll never rest in peace. And I speak of nothing, but I'll sing of my revenge on the conscious plans of rich men of dubious intent, who cared for nothing but infamy through shame. One day they'll feel the rage of these remains. I laid my weapons down, but not to sleep. My pain lies underground to feed this grief. So I'll never rest in peace. No, I'll never rest in peace. I'll never rest in peace till peace is all we see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay. I'm trying to figure our way out of that. Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Spotlighted your video for everyone.
There you go.
You guys, this is a learning experience. You know, so when you said that you had read the book and then you were driving and you went by the graveyard and then it sort of kicked off something else related, but something else. I find that happens a lot when you read these books because you don't really know what you're going to write about, but they sit in your head.
Yeah, I mean, this was really all about the wonderful atmosphere that was created. So I was already in that frame of mind, and then just put something else together. And it's also not really the type of song I would normally do, but it just lent itself to that kind of more folky sort of feel. So it was perfect.
Yeah, great, thank you. So we have one more performer, and as you can see, when it comes to screen share, I'm a genius. So I'm going to share his video. His name is William Belote, and if you just give me a minute here while I do this, it's in here somewhere. So let me, this might be a cacophony of crazy right now. That's what I'm going to call what's going to happen as I try to figure out how to find this video. Stop that share. Hey, it's me again. Now I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to find his video. I'm going to make it happen. This, every time I do a Zoom technical thing, one, I kind of lose my mind in just fear of what's actually going to happen. Two, I learned something, and I've learned many, many things today. So now I'm going to share my screen again, and let's hope this time I have it. And I didn't share sound. Gosh darn. Everybody's watching me go. It's like, oh, I've already done that. I'm right on top of it. All right, here we go, guys. This is William Belote. He wrote a song, but he was planning to be here and couldn't.
Hello, all fellow songwriters and others. I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the multi-dimensional psychology of it, and I chose to write a song from Jessica's point of view. Mama and me made potions and tea from flowers and roots in the forest. Ancient recipes the others can't see. In fear they brought Bibles and torches. They lit her up in righteous delusion, forced me to watch as a lesson. I broke free and now their confusion will fester in their souls. I'm guessing over and over the pain goes on in sequels to a nightmare. The actors change but darkness remains. Who says life is fair? They tried to make art from sick memories and money from angry ghosts. It's a big mistake to think you can take me. I'm bound to my grave, my oath. Well, I swore with my last dying breath I'd wait for fools like you to sniff around, excited by death and drunk on my home brew. Over and over the pain goes on in sequels to a nightmare. The actors change but darkness remains. Who says life is fair? Who says life is fair? Oh, who says life is fair? Who says life is fair? It's tempting to call it deja vu, but who are we trying to convince? Taking the scent of human barbecue, these are your clues and hints. I swore with my last dying breath I'd wait for fools like you to sniff around, excited by death and drunk on my home brew. Over and over the pain goes on in sequels to a nightmare. The actors change but darkness remains. Who says life is fair? Who says life is fair? Oh, who says life is fair? Who says life is fair? Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yay! I would talk to
Yeah.
right now. So that's all, folks. That was. I want to thank all the songwriters for writing to this awesome book. Clay Macleod Chapman. Thank you so much. The Remaking is the book. And I'm going to that's eerie. Sign off the streaming. Here, we can all come on. Look, here's all the songwriters that have their videos on. All right, y'all. Goodbye. November. I can't remember the book in November. You'll have to check our website.